If you end up looking at the housing crisis and kind of getting into the weeds of it, you'll see two stats that are often abused by politicians, commentators, experts, researchers, and that's 1.4 million homes left unbuilt by developers since 2007 and over 1 million homes with planning left unbuilt since 2015.
The Minister has alluded to one of the challenges there is on planning permissions, namely that any one day there's something like 1 million permissions for new housing that are not built.
Yeah. As well as 1.5 million ones for which we've got planning permission that are as yet are unbuilt.
However many permissions above and beyond the 1.4 million homes that have planning permission already.
And I wanted to go into why that data is flawed and why we've got to start challenging people using it. So, as a starting point, it overcounts planning permissions, and what that means is some permissions will have lapsed. So planning lasts 3 to 5 years, or 3 or 5 years, and then you'll need to reapply for it if it has lapsed. The data tries not to double count them, but it still does. Not all permissions can actually be built either, so you might need to agree final details on something called reserve matters. You might need to deliver infrastructure, connect utilities, or meet pre-commencement or pre-occupation conditions and their planning conditions. So examples of those might be schedule of works, landscaping, provide a dog walking pack, creation of a pathway, ecological assessment, site setup plan, employment and skills plan, or insert crazy planning condition here. Having a planning permission suggests you have permission to build, but it doesn't actually mean that in practice. So why are we counting them as permissions? If you can't build them, why is that a planning permission that is unbuilt? You also might need to agree legal requirements such as Section 106, and they can take years to agree. Some sites will be phased developments, which means you can't start the second one until the first one is completed. And there's a lag because some developments can take years to deliver. So until it's completed, it doesn't get included in that data of completions. And actually all this hints at a problem because many permissions are gained by landowners or promoters who won't build the development. So how can they provide a schedule of work? Or if it's a long-term development, we know it's going to take a while. And it's councils that are the ones that are including this in their local plans and allocating them or giving planning permission. And if you think about it, if you're a landowner and you're selling to a developer, that could take a few years to get the negotiations across the line. By that time, costs might have gone up. The original planning permission you put in place with affordable housing and all the stuff you've asked for might not be viable anymore. So there's a stretch here to actually go from application to selling the site, to building the site and signing off the conditions. There's got to be a broader discussion as to why these sites can't be built and why local authorities are allocating them. If you hear that 1.4 or 1 million home unbuilt planning permission used, challenge it or listen if the person talking about it is telling you the other stuff, or whether it's just attached to a tagline of build the right homes in the right places. The data, which comes from Glennigan's, explicitly says by the government that they shouldn't be used as a national statistic. It's contextual information. It's not possible to use the annual statistics to estimate the flow of uncompleted sites and permissions. The government knows all this. They've just told us in their data, but they want to penalise developers for not building enough homes. That's going to make a lot of lawyers get pretty rich because the development industry will start to lawyer up in order to fight back and prove that actually these works can't be delivered. And it's just going to mean more bigger builders because they can afford the lawyers. They'll already have the legal teams. But the small and medium-sized ones, the ones that kind of build within our existing communities, they don't build the big sites outside them typically, they're going to start to just exit the industry because they can't afford either the legal challenges or the potential penalties for something that's not their fault. If you're a builder, you want a return on investment. You get that site, you want to build it. The government understands all this. But it appears easier for everyone to blame the builders and not fix the broken planning system. And this government are trying, but it's at the margins. We've got so much to fix. People say planning isn't the problem. Well, it is. It stops self-build. It stops social housing. It stops registered providers like housing associations. It stops anything being built, including commercial and retail and services, amenities, roads, rail, not just housing. The planning system is the problem. And we've got to stop people from creating a false narrative around flawed statistics. Otherwise, in 10 years, we're going to be in the same damn position. We know what the solution is. We know what the challenge is. So any comments, any thoughts, any criticisms, anything else you'd like me to cover, please leave it in the comments. I'll put a link to some research that's been done on this that identifies some of these realities, and as well the data that's actually provided by Glenigans that's on the government website. But please, if you find this useful, let me know what else you want to know about. I'll be doing quite a few videos on local plans, kind of explaining some of the stuff I've talked about, because if it's your first video you've watched, you probably thought, what the hell are allocations? What the hell are local plans? And actually all this stuff is really important. And I'm definitely going to do something on social housing, because the UK system is a mess, and we're the only country in the world that does social housing like this. The market shouldn't provide social housing. We need it, but if you think the market is the way to deliver it, well, that's just going to keep house prices more expensive and deliver too few social and affordable homes.